You're listening to the SBA Loan Experts Podcast, your source for information, tips, and education on the SBA loan program from SBA expert Chris Hearn, founder and CEO of Fountainhead, the nation's leading non-bank SBA lender. Here's your host, Chris Hearn.
Seriously, if you were to just do a quick, Google search on us, look at the Google reviews that we've got. I mean, there's I think we're well over like 2,300, 2,400 Google reviews. 99.9% of them are 4 or 5 stars, and people just, raving about their experience and effusive about how we helped in such a trying time. Some of them uploaded photos of their family that we helped, or I always like the dog photos. That's kind of nice too. But it's all that stuff. It's really exciting. I mean, we've gotten tons of thank you cards and just really heartfelt emails from hundreds of our borrowers. It's really it's what kind of kept us going through this whole process. When we're working insane hours every day of the week for months on end. Of course, the downside is the people that are upset or angry, or maybe they weren't eligible, so we had to turn them down or what have you. Unfortunately, sometimes those voices are the loudest, and the way things work online, they can say whatever they want, and we don't have much recourse. So it's always frustrating when you get the negative feedback, because it's oftentimes exaggerated, it's oftentimes embellished, and it's frustrating because as human nature, we take negative comments far more seriously than we take the positive comments. But such is life. We've always had a pretty strong marketing of our services, and we sort of boosted it even more so during PPP. We've always had a very strong outreach to media, and so we did a tremendous amount of public relations, media relations during both 2020 and 2021. Even to the point where it got so busy and the requests were coming in so much. I know Christine and Erica know we had press releases sometimes weekly, just to because we had so many reporters that wanted to get my insights on things. So it was just a variety of those different things. We did online advertising. We have a pretty broad reach in terms of a referral network of loan agents and brokers who also sent us business. It was just all these things. And the recognition of PPP got better and better as the program went on. So people were talking about it at their salons and barbershops, and at the if their gym was open, and at restaurants. I would get, there's a couple, because I live in Florida, there was a few times I'd be out to eat, and somebody would recognize me, and then I'd before they bring over the salad, I got to tell them what they did wrong on their PPP application and how to fix it. I mean, there was silly stuff like that, but it was an interesting time. It was the most surreal experience in my professional career, that's for sure. We began to pivot the company back in mid-May of last year. Basically, we're not what's considered a community financial institution, so we're just a regular national non-bank. So our last submission to SBA was on May 4th, and then they basically created some set-asides for community financial institutions for the remainder of May, and then all the PPP loans had to be funded by the end of June of last year. So in us pivoting back, we started getting back to normal, and we still have probably 10 to 15% of our staff are focused on PPP, the forgiveness aspects these days. So we're not fully back, but for the most part, we're back to business as usual, and people are making SBA 7A loans and 504 loans, and that's what we do best. And we're trying to help small businesses in that regard. And there's a lot of them that need that help right now coming out of the recession. Well, I don't think I think we're down the pathway perhaps too far to see that just yet, but I've also seen a number of statistics out there saying that we are at a 3-decade high in terms of business startups right now, and it kind of makes logical sense to me that during the pandemic, during the shutdowns, there were a lot of companies that did downsize. Even if they got PPP, and that would mean that they'd have to pay back some of the loan. There were a number of companies that just could not sustain themselves, could not sustain the payroll, which forced a lot of people to re-examine things. Especially some of the folks that were working from home. They probably had more time to think about, is this really what I enjoy, or there's that side hustle I have, that hobby I focus on, every night before I go to bed. Maybe it's time to take that to a larger level. And so I think there's been a lot of that, a lot of reassessing in society of how much do they enjoy their work, or is it fit into their lifestyle or not? And so I'm not surprised by some of the statistics I've seen that this has set off sort of a new era of small business owners and entrepreneurship. And I think in time we'll start to see more and more of those folks approach lenders like ourselves. We certainly do finance startups, and we've seen a number of them, but I think we're just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's going to be a lot more throughout 22 and into next year as well.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to today's episode. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast to be notified weekly of new episodes, and head over to FountainheadCC.com for more about our SBA 7A and SBA 504 resources. Also, give us a follow. You can find us by searching Fountainhead on any of your favorite social media channels. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Today's episode is brought to you by Fountainhead, the nation's leading non-bank SBA lender. Fountainhead's team of SBA experts will guide you through every step of the process and get your loan closed faster and more efficient than any bank. Apply today online at FountainheadCC.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the SBA Loan Experts Podcast.